Hello everybody and hi, my name is Kieran and welcome to Mental Health Mondays, baby. How you doing? You doing alright? Need support? Because you got it from me. I've decided that today I'm just going to sort of go over my week. How have we been since last? How have you been? Next week I think I'm gonna actually script something up and have a topic to talk about, but for now, let's just vibe. As per my therapy, I have some tracking sheets to measure what I'm doing each day and my mood throughout, stuff like that. Also, I got this thickums. It's a DBT workbook. DBT, dialectic or dialectical? Behavioral therapy is the type of therapy that I'm in right now. And full DBT, getting the full meal deal would be to take a, was it a 12? It was like a 12-week or a 24-week class. Once a week, go in for class, and we'd work through this and also do other stuff. But I'm not a rich man. I can't afford that much therapy, though I need it. My therapist thinks that I have enough skills on my own. I got a good enough nog to work through this and still gain some benefit from it. So, yeah. I'll update you on that. Good word. I think it'll be helpful though. She took me through a few quick exercises from it yesterday, and it was neat. It was interesting. And these are meant to be skills and tools that I'll have and be using every day for the rest of my life. And stuff that I could teach on to you, my children. In my folder, I also keep the Lance-Connect Soldier. I never leave my house without some anti-anxiety trinkets. So I have, what's another anxiety trinket? I'll introduce you to the fam later. But Lance-Connect Soldier is one of my favorite books currently. I try to bring it wherever I might have the opportunity to read. And anytime that I'm super stressed or anxious, I just read from that book, and it's so calming because it's so fascinating. Love ye olden times. So this is kind of the sheet that I work through. This is just my weekly activity schedule. So I just write down all the stuff that I'm doing. Where it says video games, that's where I was not doing good and needed some de-stressing. As you can see, there's a lot more of that than there is of work, which I'm going to be changing very forcefully, very wrathfully soon. And I do find this helpful. It kind of, in the beginning especially, it was sort of, as I was about to get into something, I've gotten into the habit of just living my day and then writing down everything I did afterwards, but I feel like it's probably more helpful to be writing down the things I'm doing as I do them, because that helps with my productivity. At least the first week it did. It would be like, okay, I've done my editing, I have all these other hours that I can fill. What else can I do? I think rest is of course still important. You need time to not be working and be doing just something leisurely, something that doesn't require too much brain activity, but I haven't found that balance yet. So as per my masochistic nature, I would rather go way heavy into the work than too heavy into the rest. So I see you, burnout. Come get your boy. And I won't show you the filled out version of my diary cards, because that's like showing my nudes. How did you get them? I don't have any. This is the diary card. This is the diary card. This is a way of measuring where my brain's at throughout the week. So it's about rating how intense each emotion is. You have all these fun little things like self-harm, urge, and actions, silver saddle, ideation, set, anger, anxiety, enjoyment, longest, binge, purge, restrict. That's food for you. Substance use, what amount? For me, it's usually all of them at a full 10. And then self-validation, which is just validifying the feelings that you've felt, which I don't think I've been accurately recording. I'm gonna text my therapist about that later. I don't think I actually know how to answer that. It says to chart on anything that you rate a 5 or above and just record what was happening. I tend to record what went down on every day regardless, just for maximum information. Usually I can fill this out pretty good just with thoughts and experiences. And then on the back is a bunch of DBT stuff, which I can start filling out now that I have a booklet. Normally I would fill that out if I was in the class, because then I would be also having the booklet, but I just have the booklet, but I can still fill this out. I'll keep you updated on that. So let's look at my week since last. What can I tell you about? An interesting thing about me is I always downplay my experiences, especially negative ones, and also positive. I suppress a lot. It's not healthy. I downplay most of my experiences, so the numbers that I recorded this past week would indicate that it was a pretty good week, aside from Wednesday. Wednesday was a tough day. But my comments and the things that I was saying would indicate that it was a really difficult week. And we concurred that I am always underplaying on the numbers, but I'm very honest and delivering. I'm very factual on the comments, which is fair. I think that's always been my problem with rating my emotional experiences on a numbers scale, is that it's a lot easier and more natural for me to downplay it on a numbers scale. Say that my sadness is like 3 out of 10, because for me, having grown up with mental illness compared to my usual, my standard for an average day is probably more what most people would consider a bad day, and what I consider good days are probably a bit more average for most people. So I think it's more natural for me to undercut what I'm experiencing. Numbers, it's a lot easier to be inaccurate, but the comment section, in the comments that I write, I'm just stating the facts. Yeah, no, that's just something that's interesting about me, because I can only, and I'm sure this is not unique to me, I can only rate my experiences based on my benchmarks, I can only rate my experiences based on my experiences, because I've known that for a long time, is that my good days are often people's bad days, but relatively speaking, it's very good. But it is helpful that I also have metrics by which to measure all of my emotions. And again, like, there's still the idea of, like, a sadness on this chart, it gives you words to describe it all. A 1 on sadness is disoriented, glum, pity, woe, dull. Those are the things that if I could describe my feeling as some of that, then that's probably where I'm at. That would probably be a more standard day for me. A 2 is gloomy, melancholy, unhappy, beat, blue, which is also pretty standard, I'd say. It is helpful to have these metrics by which I can measure myself and my emotions, but I think me having lived my life and someone like me having not lived my life, experiencing the same day, they might rate theirs all the way to 10, which is agony, anguish, and grief. And for me, I'm just dejected, dismayed, displeased, insecure, dissatisfied. If you're interested to know what all the metrics are, I'll just... Here, you can look at them. You can look at it. I don't mind. It's fine. Creative fulfillment, I've noticed, is a big thing. That's something where if I am lacking in creative fulfillment in a day, it's not gearing up to be a good day. There was one day, I forget which, probably Friday, judging by this. Maybe Saturday? Oh, wow. Oh, wait, no, I'm reading anxiety. I thought I was reading joy. Friday it might have been, because I had a lot of joy that day. There's one day where I just basically took the whole day to do nothing but writing. The more creatively fulfilled I feel, the better I feel. And I'm a very creative individual. I think there's a difference between being a creative individual and being a creative. That's probably not grammatically correct, but I'm going to go with it anyway, because heck the English language. I would consider myself a creative because I have to always be creative. I have to always be making things and flexing my creative muscles. Elseways, I'm just not pleased with existence. It ain't no banger. There's also a separate distress rating scale for anxiety. You may look at this as well. A 3 on this is normal. A 3 is described as the amount of stress and tension needed to keep your mind from wandering, to keep your head erect, and so on. Keep your head just stiff. This tension and stress is not experienced as unpleasant and is normal. So a 3 on anxiety is cool. 3 on anxiety is just being aware, basically. That's just driving and being safe, not nodding off at the wheel. I would say I tend to be, on average, more around a 4. I'd say. Distress such as mild feelings of bodily tension, mild worry, mild apprehension, mild pain, or mild anxiety. Somewhat unpleasant but easily tolerated. Where was my peak over this last week? Looks like I peaked at 4. Okay. That was a good week for anxiety, actually. Every time I read this over, I realize more things and realize the ways that I've downplayed it in the past, because I've definitely hit a 7 before. Distress that makes concentration hard, fairly intense bodily distress, functioning becomes questioned. I've definitely hit that more frequently than I have recorded. I gotta get objective with this. It would probably be helpful if I asked also what the ideal numbers would be on here. I doubt I would be expecting to get a 10 on my joy and content. A 10 is bliss, ecstasy, euphoric. If I have that every day, I am on drugs. But I think 3 to 6. I think 3 to 6 is a very realistic goal to have in mind. 6 being happy, proud, satisfied. 3 just being cheerful, enjoyment, hopeful. I think 3 would be a good standard to try and set for my joy. I need to read these better. I just noticed this is also a homicidal scale. In that case, I'm 10 all the way. This is my suicidal, self-harmonica, and homosexual scale. You may read this as well. Ranged from no thoughts at all to making arrangements, which that's around the time that you would call the hospital. By the way, if you don't feel like you're at a 10 on that scale, but you're making arrangements, times, dates, writing letters, etc., I'm sorry. And I hope that you can reach out to somebody to help you. And call the hospital. If you're American, I know that that's a little less tempting of an option, but better to be in debt than dead. You can always make more money. Or you can pass those debts on to your children and give them a nice little bird as you die. That's a pretty boss move, I'd say. All in all, I'd say it was a pretty standard week. My biggest problems that I've been having lately is a lack of productivity. With YouTube and with everything else. There's just been a distinct lack of work. And not because I don't want to, it's just difficulty motivating myself to. Any of my depression homies out there know what I'm talking about. I've always just called it lethargy inspired by depression. It can be tough to do work, even the work that you love. And I will say oftentimes it's editing videos and being productive. Again, creative fulfillment. It always just makes me feel a lot better. I've been lacking in my discipline recently. I need to get back into my cold showers. I need to get back into showering. My hygiene is just falling off the rails. That's been my main source of unhappy, has just been a lack of productivity. So I think this week I have apps on my phone I have them set to be locked at specific times, which I'm hoping is going to be helpful. I'm going to do a video on the pros and cons of that in a couple weeks once I've had a good run of it. Those apps are blocked, so I don't have phone distractions. Probably going to delete the Max Payne 3 shortcut at the very least, if not uninstall the game, because I've played it 3 times through and now I'm just doing arcade levels and it's really fun, but it's just, it takes too much time. I'm going to try and alleviate some distractions from me, because a bored mind will be itching to do some work. I'm also looking at how I can get back into working out in full force. I know this is the ideal male physique right here, ka-chow, but I need to flatten this gut. I come from a history of men with pot bellies, so I need to combat that as best I can. What is my workout routine actually? This is the routine that I'm gonna go for. It's very cardio heavy, because cardio, I think from what I can gather, cardio is the best for general weight loss. You'd want to do some strength and resistance training if you're going to build muscle. I'll update this as it goes on. I'll figure it out. As of March 2nd, 2022, I weighed about 205 pounds. Chest is 45 inches, waist is 46 inches. Those are the only measurements that I'm counting, because that's really where the most improvement could be. And also I'm trying to buy medieval armor and I need to make sure it fits me properly. My warm-up is 100 butt kickers, 50 jumping jacks, 50 arm circles in both directions, jump rope, eyeball it. Then I'll go into some warm-up stretches. Standing side lunge with a twist. Standing twist, standing side bend, quad stretch, and that one where you pull your arm down your back by the elbow. Like that. And the primary exercise? Longsword drills. That's really all it is. I'm just trying to find ways of keeping fit that are enjoyable. Because if I enjoy it, then I'm more likely to stick with it. By and large, I hate exercising. And I don't just mean that as in like, oh man, I just don't like to get out and do things. It's so much easier just sitting around. I hate the feeling of being worked out. Apparently people get endorphins from physical exercise. Nah, I've had that maybe less than 5 times. I so rarely get any endorphins, any pleasure chemicals out of physical exertion. Most of the time it makes me feel really, really bad, and I have to shower right after to try and get rid of the feeling of having worked out. Elseways, it could ruin my just entire day. And from what I've looked up, apparently that could just be that I work out in the mornings and I just have low blood sugar. Could be a problem. So I'm just gonna put like a tablespoon of sugar and water, chug-a-lug it while I'm working out, and hopefully that'll do it. I don't know. This is all tentative. I need to find something that will last me, something that I'm not just going to give up on, which is why I'm using longsword drills as my main workout, and everything else is just a warm-up to that, because I really like medieval history and I really like swordplay. So hopefully this is enough to contain the beast that is I. It would also help, I think, if I got some more equipment to train with. I should join a club. There's a couple in here. I might also just join a standard fencing club, like an épée fencing club, just to get it going, the blood flowing, you know? If I had more equipment, it would probably help with more stuff that I can do. Oh, but money, she is so few. In summary, this week has been pretty standard for me, which isn't a good thing because I don't have high standards, but I have some plans in place through which I may improve in time. I'm going to write a script over the weekend and come at you with something more substantial next week, but hey, this was still fun, right? Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope that you can get something out of it. If you need any resources, if you or someone that you know could use some assistance, I've left some links and phone numbers down in the description for Canada and the US. If there's anybody outside of those countries who would also like some information, let me know and I'll start including those in the description. I love you. You're beautiful. Mwah, I love you, and I will see you next week.